welcome back to another episode of the Sadistic Costume Warehouse. And if you've seen I guess I could call it advertising for this episode, then you know that today we're talking about Dan the Creepy Neighbor. Now this guy, he's a funny and terrifying character all at once, and I'll explain that to you right now. The reason why he's funny is because, well, you always end up getting into mishaps, or I should say, we always end up getting into mishaps with this guy. He's a very funny character, and he definitely has his moments. And the reason why he's terrifying is because, well, he's a cannibal, and he eats people. So, that's what makes Dan the Creepy Neighbor secretly terrifying. But as usual, we're going to go over the pieces of this costume, tell you a little bit about each one, and then we'll end the video, as we usually do, by putting the costume on and giving you my final thoughts. So, without any further ado, let's get into the pieces of this disgusting, filthy person. Alright, horror fans, you know the drill here with the show. We have the pieces out on the bed, and we're going to talk a little bit about each one. Starting off with Dan the Creepy Neighbor's iconic face, which, if you're paying close attention, you'd be able to realize that this was an Art the Clown mask. Now, yes, this is just one of those, I don't know what you would call it, sort of off-brand Art the Clown mask. One of those, relatively cheaper ones that they have with the tie-on hat, so I took the hat off and, yeah. So, when this thing came in, I didn't really like the original look of it. I kept it original for as long as I could, because I was going to put an Art the Clown costume together and just use this mask for that particular Art the Clown costume way back when, but I am going to do an Art the Clown costume, and trust me, it's going to look really, really good, so I hope you guys stick around for that. But other than that, this mask was going to be the original Art the Clown costume mask, but it turned into Dan the Creepy Neighbor, and I'm going to tell you how. So this is painted entirely with paint pen, Posca paint pens, from the beard to the eyebrows to the eyes. Now the eyebrows were originally black because, again, Art the Clown. The beard, this thing was tedious to paint. I'm going to tell you right now. The facial details were really, really tedious to paint on this mask. And, you can imagine why, if you're a cosplayer, why a mask like this would be tedious to paint, so, But yeah, this is Dan the Creepy Neighbor's face. Alright, and Dan the Creepy Neighbor doesn't go anywhere without his sidekick, his pet rat, Homicide, which, if you go to Spirit Halloween, you can find these little guys, which are just prop rats, but I got one and decided it would make a good companion for Dan the Creepy Neighbor. So, you have Homicide. And its name is Homicide for obvious reasons. Alright, into the clothing. His plaid shirt, which is very iconic by now. You guys have seen this thing on Dan the Creepy Neighbor all the time. Dan the Creepy Neighbor does have an alternate work uniform, which I will get to in a future video, but I don't know if I want to burden you with just a work uniform for a character like this, so yeah. But yeah, this is his flannel, and it's a really, really nice flannel. It really gets the job done well and puts this character together in a very, very amazing way. Same with his Levi jeans. Now these are just a normal pair of Levi jeans that I got a while back, and I didn't really like the way they looked, so I didn't wear them out too much, and I just decided to put them toward a costume, just in case I wanted to destroy them. But I didn't destroy them, and ended up putting them with Dan the Creepy Neighbor. Alright. Second to last, Dan the Creepy Neighbor's glasses, which are just a pair of 3D glasses from my local Regal when I went to see a movie. And, they worked. I just popped the lenses out of the frames, did all that. So yeah, Dan the Creepy Neighbor wears a pair of glasses. I know you never seen him wear a pair of glasses before, but I decided to add that little, you know, characteristic to him. And now, lastly, his burgundy shirt. Now, as you know, underneath the plaid shirt, he wears this burgundy one. And it's a very, very beautiful burgundy shirt, as you can see. And it goes really, really well with this costume and just looks really, really good. You know, it doesn't fit the best, so that's why I use it as an undershirt for this particular costume, because this collar does go really good around the neck of the mask, and the shirt does go relatively low, but again, the sleeves are just sucky and stuff like that, so that's why it goes toward costumes. So, with all that being said and out of the way, I'm going to go ahead and jump into this costume for you guys as usual, give you my final thoughts, and then we're going to end off the video. So, let's jump into the pieces of Dan, the creepy neighbor. And there you have it, horror fans. Dan, the creepy neighbor.
Yeah, I don't like people all that well. Oh, there go my glasses.
Yeah, because this mask doesn't have ears, the glasses don't like to sting on very well, but that's okay. I still love this costume anyway. He's one of the first characters I ever created, so, you know. Anyways, with that being said, if you guys enjoyed this episode of the Sadistic Costume Warehouse, please let me know by leaving a big fat like, subscribing to the channel, and becoming part of the horror show we have going on here. And please, expect more videos just like this. We'll see you later, horror fans.